Hello everybody. What I'm going to do in this video is show you how I make the barrel for the homemade engraving handpiece. So I'm going to show you how to make the barrel here out of a bolt on the lathe. Next video I'll show you how to make the same thing on the drill press for those that don't have a lathe. Most people have access to a drill press, but right now we're going to do it on the lathe, and I'm going to make this out of this. So we'll start with cutting the bolt down. You cut the head off, and then you cut the threads down to where you've got 1 inch of bolt shank and 1 inch of threads. So for an overall length of 2 inches, let's see what we've got right now. And right now we have 2 inches and 25 thousandths. So we need to take 25 thousandths off of this because I want it right at 2 inches, and I'm going to take it off the threaded side. So let's get started here. I want to put this in my chuck to where I can still take a measurement. It's not that important, but it just makes it easier for me to double check. So yeah, right there I can still get the calipers on it. Tighten her down. Bring my tool over and just touch the end of it. It's already been faced off. And I set I've got a dial indicator down here, and I bump it up against my carriage and set it at 0. And now I can dial in the 25 thousandths that I need to take off of this thing to make it exactly 2 inches. 10 thousandths. 20 thousandths. And another 5. Should be exactly 2 inches now. What do we got? We have 2 inches. Okay. Good enough. Now what I want to do is put a slight chamfer on it. Come up to it. About a 30,000 chamfer on it. Don't have to go that deep, but I did. And here it is. Nut screws right on there now. No burrs. So at this point we're ready to center drill it and start drilling it out. Right now I got a center drill, and I'm going to get it center drilled here so that I can drill this thing. Center drill on that, and now I'm going to ream this one out at 0.348. I'm not going to go up to 375 because I think my standard now is going to be a 0.348 ream, because that will give me more wall thickness between the cylinder walls and the threads. And I'm gonna start this out with a pilot hole with a C drill, and the C drill is, what is that, 40.244, 0.245. So it's just a little bit under a 1/4 inch. That's what I'm going to use for my pilot drill. So I'm going to bring it up here now. On the drills, on all the drills, I measure if I can, let's see if you can see this. I like to measure from the largest diameter right there at the edge. That's where I want the drill to go. I don't measure from the tip. I measure from the first part of the major diameter. That's where I want it to go in. And I want this to go in 1 inch 200 thousandths. That's 1.2 is how far I want this to go into this piece. And I try to get it up here as close as I can. At first it's not going to be flush, but it's pretty close. Now on most of your most lathes have a dial on the handle back here, and mine is every full rotation. I'm winding it. I wound it back there. Every full rotation on this lathe is 1/10 of an inch. So I need to dial this in 12 times and I'll be at 1.2 inches. So let's do that. Let me get some oil here. And let's drill a hole. There's 1/10. Two-tenths. Three. 1 inch. 2/10 to go. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9. Sorry, that was 9. This is a 10th. There's 1 inch. Oh, always double check. Count your turns. Okay, let's do it again. Let's see here. Reset. Pretty close. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. There's 1 inch. Gotta double check. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 1 inch. .1. And 1.2. There's my 1.2 depth with the pilot drill. Let's double check it. It's right at the edge there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 1 inch. 200,000. 1.2 inches. I'll change the drill out since I'm going with a .348 bore for the cylinder. I want to use a .344 drill, which is an 11/32 drill. Is what I want to drill this out to. So bring it up. We're still not exactly where we need to be. We'll have to reset after we go in a little ways here. So let's count. I think I might slow it down a little bit. That was running at 600 RPM. I'm going to slow it down to 360 for this larger drill. So. Okay, now I can set the edge of this drill at the edge of the part. There she is. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Clear the chips. A little oil on it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clear the chips, double check. Well, reset this. If you can't see, you can always get on it with a loop and make sure you're right there at the corner of the where the drill starts to become the finished size. So reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we've got that to the depth we want it. Let's check it. Let's check it just to make sure that we're kind of where we want to be. So I'm going to use my calipers. I'm going to keep it at the edge because I want to know the edge, not the center of the hole. I want to know the edge. Oh, look at that. That's fine. It's a little deep. It came out to 1 inch 2/17. I wished it would have been a little. I wished it would have came out to 1 inch 2, but that's close enough. That'll do a good job. Now what we want to do is ream it. I'm going to ream it to the point 348. That in the chuck. I'm going to bring it. I don't really need to count this one. I'll feel it bottom out, but I'm going to count it anyway. Bring it up to right there, right where I want it. Oil the reamer, and I'm going to slow her down even more this time. I think I'm going to slow it down to 200 RPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Keep them chips out. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's reset it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Clear out the chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bottom of the hole, right where I want her. Let's see what she came out to. Alright, that's a little better measurement there. Hard to get it right up next to that edge to get a good feel for this thing. That's more better. 205. So 1 inch, 205. That's where I wanted it. A little better measurement. Alright. Now, that end's done. The cylinder is complete. Let's turn it around. I'm going to center drill it, and we're going to drill the 1/4 inch hole. Okay, center drill it. Crank the speed back up. Center drill, and now we're going to go into it with a C drill, and that mics out about 0.242. Because we're going to be reaming this up to 0.250. So we're going to go in undersized. And we don't worry about the depth this time because it's a through hole. We're just going to go clean through the thing. Drill out from time to time, clear any chips, a little oil on it, cool that bit down. This is stainless steel, so it'll get a little warm. Okay, we're through with the C drill. Now we're going to go in, whoops, wrong reamer. Going to go in with our 250 reamer. I'm going to slow her down again to 200. Get some oil on that cutter so we don't have to worry about our depth because it's all the way through. Still need to back it out. And let the chips clear. You don't have to use a reamer if you don't have them. If your drills are good and sharp, you can just go ahead and use a 250 drill and drill it out. If you don't have the reamers, you're probably going to get the same results as long as you got a good sharp drill. Same thing with the cylinder. You could bore it out to whatever size between 350 and 375 with just a drill. If that's all you got and you don't have reamers, don't worry about it. I just like to ream it because I get a much better finish. Okay, let's see what we got here. We'll take a look at it. And there you have it so far. The 1/4 inch hole and the 3/48 hole. Just what the doctor ordered. Okay. Now what I'm going to show you next is something. If you have this type of tool post and you don't have a mill, because we want to put this little locator tip on here. Now I do it on the mill, but it can be done on the lathe if you have this type of tool post, quick change tool posts. So we can put this in here. Oh, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. What we want to do is put an end mill in the chuck. This is a carbide end mill. It ought to do just fine. I could probably use high speed on this. It doesn't have to be carbide, but it was handy, so that's what I grabbed. Now what you want to do is take one of your tool holders. You take a tool holder and you put your the barrel in this tool holder to where it's sticking out of the tool holder. I don't know, about a 1/2 inch or so. Ought to be fine. And tighten it down. Don't get too carried away on the threads. If you want to tighten this one down, put something in between there. Put a piece of plastic or some leather or something. Or just don't get real aggressive when you tighten down on the threads. Tighten down on this one real good, but leave this one. You can bring it down to the threads, but I wouldn't tighten it. I just snug it so you don't deform the threads. Put it on your tool post, and now I can set it. I can use the tool post as my milling attachment. Now I'm going to bring it up to where I can bump it into the cutter. Okay, I'm just bumping it up against the cutter, and right there. And I'm going to set my dial indicator to 0 here. I'm up against the cutter, and that's the edge of it. I've got it set at 0. So I'm going to move it out of the way here. I'm going to bring it back to 0, and I'm going to dial it in a full 1/10 of an inch. I don't know if you can see that the dial indicator right here turned a full 1/10 of an inch, and I'm going to lock the carriage down. Now I can loosen this up until this just slides up underneath the cutter. Crank the speed back up, and now I can mill. I want to mill 2/10 of an inch off of each side of this, and that'll leave a tab that'll leave this locator pin on both sides. So one thing at a time here. We're gonna mill the top. We're going to mill the top of this first. Now you turn the lathe on. It's got a right hand twist, so I don't want to climb. If I come in from this side, I'm climb milling, and it can grab the part and pull it in, break your cutter and all that stuff. So on this bottom cut, I want to do it from the back side because the tool is spinning this direction. I want to come into it from the back side. So let's get it to where she'll start cutting. You just screw it up to there, and I'm going to do maybe a 1/2 turn at a time until I figure out what it's doing. Lock your tool post down. Loosen the tool post, turn it another 1/2 turn. Loosen your tool post, about another half turn. And we'll do that until we've taken a couple of tenths off of this. Now the diameter of this is just under a half an inch, maybe by 5/1000. So we want to measure across the flat that we're cutting here until we're down to 3/10 of an inch. Right now we're at 440. So we just got to keep going. Loosen it up, take it about a half a turn. Check it. That's right at 4, pretty close to 4. Moves a little bit when I pull it off, but it's right at 4. So we still got a 1/10 of an inch to go. A little bit of chatter on that, so I'm actually going to crank it up a little faster here. Let's see where we're at. Okay, we've got 80 thousandths to go. Half turn at a time. Okay, we got about 50 thousandths to go. So let's see how much we get on a half a turn. So we got about almost 20 thousandths on a half a turn. So at least you know what you're getting. So I'll do another half turn. We're getting closer. Okay, we've got about 10 thousandths to go, so I'm not going to quite do a half turn this time. I'm just going to do a little tweak here and I'm going to sneak up on it. Okay, that was about 5 thousandths. We're going to do another one of them, just a little tweak. And that's at 3. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to loosen this up and we're going to bring it up to the top. We're going to screw this thing down, hopefully till it comes up to the top. We might not have that much throw. If we don't, I'll have to finish it on the mill. Alright, that's all the way up. Oh yeah, yep, perfect. So this time we have to come in from the front because of the direction that the cutter's turning. So we don't climb mill it, and it can cause problems. Take my word for it. Alright, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to do a half turn. Half turn. This time I can kind of see how close I'm getting. So I don't need to stop and measure as many times. This time we are going to stop and measure, so I know how much farther to go here. Alright, we're down to... We've got about 34 thousandths to go before we've got a 1/10 of an inch locator tip here. I gotta start checking it after every cut. Got about half of it. I think we're at 15. 1/10, 115 thousandths. Oops, I really didn't want to do that. Didn't want to climb mill. But if you take very little cuts, you can get away with it. Take a big cut climb milling, you can get yourself in trouble on a conventional machine. Okay, we got about a little less than 10 thousandths. Tweak it just a little bit. I'm climb milling, but I'm taking very small cuts, so it doesn't matter on small cuts. And I'm going to take a little bit more. Measure that. And I'm going to take one more cut. Just a smidge. Alright, this is what we got here. Got a little under a 1/10 there, right at a 1/10. Yep. Let's get a good bite here. It looks a little under, and that's cool. 95. Now it'll fit your the tool holders you buy off the internet. So the next operation we want to do is take one of these tabs off. So I'm going to loosen it up. And I'm going to turn it to where the tabs are straight up and down. Okay, some tabs are straight up and down, or as close as I can get them. tighten this one down and snug this one up. Okay, I'm going to put this back in here and I'm going to run it all the way back up again because we're going to take this one tab off. And now we've got to reset our 1/10 of an inch. Reset that. I'm going to bump that tab up against the cutter. Okay, there's my 0. Zero out my dial indicator. Okay, it's now at 0. I'm going to get it out of the way, and at 0 I'm going to bring it in 1/10 of an inch. 1/10 of an inch. I'm going to lock my cross slide or my carriage down, and I'm going to start milling. Took a big bite that time. I'm going to do this in 2 passes. And there it is. And came out okay. There's a little bit of a step right here that can be cleaned up with a file, but that's what you want to see. So that's one way of doing it on the lathe if you have quick change tool holders like this. You'll be able to get a part that looks like this. I got a little deep on here, but that's okay. It can be clean. I'll clean that up and it'll be just fine. It'll work just fine. As long as you can get this tool, your quick change tool in there. I'm gonna, this little right here, that's the same diameter as this. That's part of that 1/4 inch inside diameter, and I'm just going to file that flat so that the quick change tool holder doesn't get hung up on it. And that's what you'll do with all your surfaces that have burrs. Knock the burrs off. Let me knock the burrs out of the hole. Get it cleaned up. Where is our... And here's a quick change. Quite all. Knock that burr off of here. Knock the burrs off the locator. And let's see if she fits. Oh yeah. Goes right in there. Alright. So, there's the first step to doing the barrel. I'm not going to drill the holes in this one. We'll get set up on the mill and the drill press later on, but that's how I make these, or how they can be made. I make them with rod. I just use 1/2 inch rod and I cut the threads. But if you don't want to do that, here was the quick ticket out. We've already got us a barrel with a locator tip on it. The only thing left to do on this barrel is pick up the holes. And you can see that I'm making these shorter now. Let's put these together. So I'm making it a little bit shorter at 2 inches because I think it'll have a better feel to it. So we'll see. But that's how I'm making them now. If you got any questions, leave comments, questions, whatever, and in the next video I'll do the same thing with this bolt on the drill press. And we'll forget all about the lathe, and for the guys that don't have a lathe or don't have access to a lathe, we'll do this on the drill press so that you'll be able to make one. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.